Is intensifying ahead of the Zimbabwean elections next week. Voters are due to elect a president, members of the legislature, as well as local municipal officials. The youth are the largest demographic, mostly affected by the democratic processes, but apathy remains high. Zimbabwe has a population of about 16 million people, with approximately 77.9% of this population 34 years old and younger. Audrey Chimwanda joins us live from Bulawayo. Audrey, could you give us or provide insights into the key challenges and developments surrounding these upcoming elections?
It is the very question of the number of youth in this country and how they are represented that brought us to this oldest township in Bulawayo called Makokova, and it is some of the largest demographics when it comes to the young people, and some would argue that they're perhaps the biggest shareholders as they get into this election. I will tell you this, Nsanta, we had some of the toughest time just trying to get some of these youths in front of the camera to share their views with us with regards to what they expect from this election, if they feel represented, and what they want to see going forward in terms of feeling empowered and represented. They would speak to us off camera. Some of them literally did not want to talk about the elections, saying they felt that it made no difference to their lives, and they were happy to just go on with living the way their lives the way that they have. But we're lucky to find a young lady in her 20s, a mother of two, and she's happy to share with us some of her sentiments regarding this election and just being a young person, not only in Zimbabwe, but in the townships, especially with the number of stories that we've been hearing of the youth, but some of them have been immersed in drug abuse, some of them saying there's a lack of opportunity that makes them resort to this. But we came and we saw you. You have a business that you're running. Would you tell us how you have come to start this business and feel empowered enough to do so?
Well, it's actually a business that was left to us by our grandmother. So we are just continuing with the legacy. Yeah, that's how we started the business. So actually continuing the legacy that she left for us.
And I'm going to put you a bit on the spot here. Are you a registered voter? Do you intend to vote in these elections? And if so, what are the key issues that you want to see addressed by the incoming leader of this country, not only as president, but even a member of parliament in your constituency and your local councillors as well?
Well, I'm registered to vote and I'm definitely going to vote. Yeah.
And what changes do you want to see?
Well, we'd like to have more job opportunities, especially for young women, young girls, because they are the ones who are actually getting abused more and more. Yes.
And earlier on you were telling me you're a mom of two. Do you see a bright future for your kids going forward in Zimbabwe?
I would actually say they have a bright future.
Thank you for speaking to us. That is Lisa Mhlanga. She's one of the youth here in Makokova. As you can see behind me, perhaps the hive of activity has died down a bit, but a number of youth are still lingering around with their little enterprises, small to medium businesses that they have started from scratch and that they're hoping to create jobs not only for themselves, but for their peers as well and some of the members of their family. You can see some of the furniture shop that is there. We've seen people selling tires. Everyone is doing what they can, it appears, to make sure that they stay afloat and they are able to address the bread and butter issues and have a livelihood. These are some of the issues that they have told us. Like I told you, there's still a bit of voter apathy. When I spoke to our colleague Ayanda earlier in the morning, we were talking about the statistics, the figures, official figures that we've gotten from the government departments here, speaking about how the youth really haven't come through as much as they expected to be a part of governance issues in this country and to show interest in casting their vote to make sure that they play a part in the electoral processes of this country. In Shantla.
Audrey, before I let you go, previous elections in Zimbabwe have been accompanied by some level of political violence leading up to the polls. Would you say things are different this time around?
I was here in 2018 on the ground when we covered, I think, the first election after the former president, the late president now, Robert Mugabe, when the incumbent Mnangagwa was voted into power. I will say there was quite a bit of violence. It's well documented. We saw the post-election violence that happened between the youths of the opposition party. Then it was MDC Alliance and ZANU-PF. As I come back now to Zimbabwe, being also my home country and getting a sense of what the locals are talking about and how they feel, and being a part of this election, I get a sense that people really want peace. And I say this because this is what I've heard them say. They say they just want to be able to cast their vote fairly and freely and have that vote count. But most of all, they want to be able to move ahead going forward in a peaceful country. We have moved around Bulawayo for the past 24 hours now, and there has been peace. We have not seen any issues in terms of, literally a few minutes ago, we saw a ZANU-PF truck with a number of youth that are speaking to their constituencies, giving out pamphlets, as is, of course, the final hours to the election. That's in the next 3 days. And just after that, we saw a truck that was full of opposition, the main opposition party, CCC, the youth also speaking to their constituencies, still campaigning, as they're still allowed to just 24 hours before elections. That's when they're not allowed to do that. And they seem to be working together in harmony, separately, but in harmony. Another issue that I think would be of interest for people that are watching in terms of press freedom. As the media, we were able to come into this country with all our paperwork having been cleared, and we've been able to work freely from the CBD out here into the township, and we have had no problem at all so far. I'm going to have to go on, Santa. As you can see, there's a bit of celebration. Actually, if I ask my colleague to pan to the left, that's a truck of ZANU-PF youth that have come into the township, obviously wanting to still address their constituency a few days before the election. That's Honorable Raj Modi, who's one of the candidates, member of parliament candidates that is hoping to change as a legislator in this constituency. They're also representing Bulawayo South, which forms part of Matabeleland region. There's Bulawayo South, Bulawayo North, and of course Bulawayo City as a province of its own. Those are some of the activities we're witnessing here. I do hope that you can still hear me, Santa.
That's Audrey Chimwanda, of course, keeping a very close watch as to the preparations leading up to this hotly contested election in Zimbabwe next week. As you can see there, campaigning is in full swing. She's our eyes and ears out in Bulawayo, and we'll continue to give you live updates from what's happening on the ground.